This is Mike with GRETA'S Guns, and today we're going to talk a little bit about modifying Glocks. So first we have a Gen 3 Glock 19 here, and basically everything on this gun's been touched. So you could do all of this, you could do a couple things, you know, anything in between. The first thing to note is stippling. Stippling really changes the way these guns feel. It really makes it feel a lot less blocky. You know, we typically reduce the back strap about 50%, shave the sides down, and then full hand stipple with micro dot all the way around it. The nice thing with this is that hands are sweaty, they're wet, they really grip the gun without being overly aggressive. So it is still to a degree soft but aggressive at the same time. Mag wells also help a bit. Obviously with reloading, it gives you a nice funnel so you don't have to fumble trying to get your magazine into the mag well. But then also they grip your fingers and they kind of pinch your fingers together and give you a really great grip on the pistol. Accelerator cuts are also an option, and then single or double undercuts. And what that does is, you know, with an undercut, it brings your middle finger up as high as possible, which brings your hand up a little bit higher. It's just a lot more comfortable, a lot more ergonomic. Now, tons of different trigger options in Glocks, different pins, different triggers, adjustable, non-adjustable. Most of the time we polish all the internals, really smooths the whole system out, plus it looks really nice. Slides, there's a billion slide options. So this one's actually a 19L. So we have a Gen 5 17 barrel in a Gen 3 Glock 19. So you have a little bit more barrel length with this setup, which is kind of cool. But there's an ungodly amount of slide options out there, barrel options, optics, sights. The list can go on forever. A lot of people choose to not upgrade their barrel. You don't necessarily need to do it. You know, the factory Glock barrels are pretty good. They're polygonal rifled, and the only real issue with them is if you're shooting solid lead projectiles out of them, so non-jacketed. What'll happen is the lead will plug up the rifling, where if you do an aftermarket barrel, it's typically going to be match grade, and it doesn't really matter what you shoot out of it. It's going to use traditional rifling. So a lot of the barrel is typically aesthetics along with the slide, although some slides do get lighter, give you different options for different optics and stuff like that. Different sight heights, different firing pins you can put in there. You can run a stock firing pin with a lighter spring, you can run a titanium firing pin, you can run a skeletonized firing pin, extended magazine releases, extended takedown levers, titanium pins. You know, Glocks are super modular, and everybody's been modifying these things for a long time, so there's a plethora of parts out there. One of the more popular ones, especially for race guns, is the Glock 34. This is kind of the go-to for a Glock if you're going to run competition. Just like the 19 here, you could pretty much go wild on these. We have different style magwell on this. Same trigger in it. We've extended the beaver tail a bit, so that way you can get your hand way up in there really fast. The slide's a bit lighter, the recoil spring's a bit lighter. It makes this thing cycle a lot faster and have less recoil. Then down to like the Glock 48. This is an original Glock 48, had a stainless PVD coated slide. This is one of the first generations. We blasted it and did a matte DLC on it, optic cut it, and then added iron sight cuts for it as well. No accelerator cuts in the small frame stuff, but having stippling and all that really makes a big difference. If you have any questions about different Glock parts, modifying your Glock, or suggestions, you can contact us by checking the description below.